In this video we're going to look at a simple image and we're going to look at the data for that image. First of all, I'm going to create an image, so I'm going to go to Paint. Now you could probably do this on yours. I can't see any reason why not. At the moment, if you've got Paint, I've got grid lines on, etc. I'll show you how to do that. What I'm going to do is set up a resolution. At the moment it's 319 by 234 pixels. We've dealt with resolution. I'm going to bring that resolution down to an 8 by 8, 1 byte worth of information per row. So if I go to Properties, I can set that. So the width is going to be 8, the height is going to be 8, and I'm going to have it in pixels. I'm going to have it black and white, so just two colours. Now, the problem I've got is it's far too small to be seen, so I need to zoom in as far as I can. I've got my grid line on. You can turn your grid line on there, and the grid line's nice because it gives you all the pixels in the image that you can actually paint. So I'm going to paint a very simple picture. Let's go back here, pick up the pencil, and I've only got black or white. Strangely, white is 0, 0. No, white is FF and black is 0, 0. I'll get to that shortly. I'm going to create a very simple image, like a sort of I-beam. So going across the top, I filled every single item in. And then I'm going to fill in the fourth bit, starting from the right, first, second, third, fourth bit, and the bottom row I'm also going to have. So I've got kind of an eye, but not with the line in the centre. So that is my image, and I'm going to save that. So if I choose save, I'm going to save it on the desktop. I'm going to call it image. In fact, I'm not going to have it as a PNG. I'm going to have it as a monochrome bitmap. And I'm going to call it, I don't know, black and white. There we go, BW, and save that on my desktop. So I've now got this picture saved on my desktop. There it is, a little tiny 8 by 8 image with just an eye. So I'm going to open up my hex editor again, and we're going to have a look at this file in a little detail. So if I go to File, Open File, and go to the desktop. I'm trying to be quick with this because it's going to be rather a long video. Here we can see that it was 94 bytes, the amount that is saved. Now when we saved a text file, when we had sort of 11 characters, it just saved 11 bytes. This time I've got 8 by 8. Well, 8 squared is 64, so I really am expecting 64 bytes to be saved, but there seems to be an extra 30 bytes. Those extra 30 bytes are called metadata. They are data about the data. In other words, it contains the colour, the size, what it is about this image. So I'm going to open this up so we can see the image. Oh, not better if I chose it. There we go, and this is my image. Now strangely, the image works from the bottom to the top. So the first line is sort of here. I've got some F7s, F7, 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 F7. Each one of those F7 represents one of these lines here. Okay, so F is 1, 1, 1, 1, but white is the 1. And then I've got a 0 and a 1, 1, 1. So that's 7 there, and that F there, white is a 1 and black is a 0. So everywhere where we've got a black, we've got a 0. So I can show you that. Let's take one of these F7s. Let's take this bottom one here, and I'm going to modify the bits on that. At the moment it's this one here, so I've got a white, 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 black, white, white, white. So if I change it so that, well, let's swap the black and the white over there in the middle. and click OK. It's now EF. So if I save that, click OK, and I really need to reload it into Paint. So I need to go to Open, go and find my image. There it is. As you can see, we've changed one bit there. So when I click Open and then zoom in, you can see that I have changed it. I just swapped the zeros and ones around there. But notice I was doing that on the very last item here. And that is the very first, as far as the middle bit of the eye goes, that was the first bit here. These zeros here are the top bar. So let me change the first one, this one here. That should be this bottom one here, where my mouse is at the moment. So if I quickly change that, so if I modify the bits on that, again I can just swap those two round and save it, reload it into Paint, and zoom in, and now you can see I have changed the image just by changing the binary. And going back, the reason why everything is in hexadecimal is because it's a lot neater than looking at binary. If you can imagine all of these as binary numbers, we wouldn't be able to see where we were. So it's much easier if we've got it in nibbles and in binary. Now I said that the file had metadata, and that means data about data. So I'm going to take you through one or two. The first one, 4.2 and 4D, is the B and the M. That stands for bitmap. The next value I've got here is how big the data file is. So that's telling me how big the data file is, and I'm going to change that in a minute, and I'm going to change it in Paint, and you can see those edit. So at the moment it's 5e. Keep that one in memory. This here is the size, width and height of my picture. 0.8 and 0.8. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, is change the width and height of my picture, and I want you to notice what happens. The 5e should change, this should change, this should change, and the amount of data that I've got should also change. I think I'm adding around about 4 bytes of information. So that will probably go up to around about 98 bytes just by changing the size. So let's give that a go here. Let's go to Properties and change it to 9 by 9. I'm going to keep it as black and white and pixels. Click OK. If you notice, it's added a white line at the bottom and a white line at the side. I'm going to save that. Now it's saying a sharing violation occurred. That's because I have got both files open at the same time. So if I close that file there, I should be able to save this one. Click Save, don't get a message, but I've got to reopen that file in here. So if I go File, Open, and then go and find the file, notice we've got the white down the side, it's showing the image here, and this time we've got 98 bytes as I predicted. So if I click on Open, there we go, the 4.2 stays the same and the 4D stays the same there because they're a bitmap. This number's gone and changed from 5e up to 6.2, and that really is telling me, so here I've got 0.6, 0.61, 0.62. Okay, there are 62, not 62 bytes. There's 98 bytes. Getting confused myself now. But notice that these have changed now to a 9 by 9 image. So that is metadata. This is data up here about the image, not the image itself. This data down here is the image itself. So that's a quick look at a very basic 2-color black and white image with a very simple file structure. And although it's now 9 by 9, which would be 81 bits, 81 bytes, sorry, it does register as 98 bytes because there is a little bit of metadata that's got to be added on. When we start playing with color images, the amount of metadata will increase, and so will the data and how it's structured in the rest of the file. But we'll look at that later. So for the time being, all I need you to know is that at the top we've got some metadata, which helps. The metadata helps you put the image on the screen or show the image. Let me show you what I mean by that. If I change this 9 to 10, so I'm going to modify the bits. I'm going to change that to be 10, which is 1010, a 10 by 10 image. So change that one as well. Because I haven't changed any of the rest of the metadata, in other words, put more information down here, for more bytes down here, change this value, my file won't even display. So if I save that and then go to open, and then go and look for the file, and there it is. It still says 98 bytes, but I've made it larger. I've made it at least 100 bytes, and it's a bit more than that. But it can't display the image. It doesn't know what it is. It's corrupted the file, and if I try to open it, that file is corrupted. I need to change some further bits and sit down and work them out, to be honest, to get them right. So I need to have 4 more bits here, 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0, and then change that to 7 2, and save it. I still don't think that will work nicely, but we can try. But this is the point of, you can't just change these things randomly. You really need to know what you're doing, otherwise you will kill your file. And there we go, I've got the file. I've managed to change it. So if I zoom in, yeah, I've got a stranger picture. So that is taking a look at a black and white image. So the resolution was the width times the height. It was 2 colours, and the file also contained metadata, the kind of file, how large the file was, and the image size, plus the actual data for the image. The 1s and 0s in the binary number, so if I choose this, the 1s and 0s in the binary number stood for black and white. 1 was white and 0 was black. Again, when we deal with colour images, we're going to need a bit more than this. So, job done. Let's move on to colour.